My golden sister tried to put my house on Airbnb without permission. I sued for fraud, then my phone went off with a call from my parents. You are no longer our son, they said, but they didn't know what dirt I had on my sister. I never expected my own family to turn their back on me like this. When my phone rang and I saw my parents' number, I thought they were calling to talk. Instead, the words hit me like a punch in the gut. You are no longer our son. It took me a second to realize what they were saying. My own parents had disowned me, all because I had done what any sensible person would do: sue my sister for fraud after she tried to put my house on Airbnb behind my back. But they didn't know the whole story. They didn't know the kind of person Emma really was. They still don't. I have worked all my life for this house. Late nights, weekends, overtime, whatever it took. The day I got the keys, I actually cried. I had finally done it. A house that was mine in a neighborhood I loved, with a view that made every struggle worthwhile. Of course, Emma had other plans. She always knew how to turn things to her advantage. As a child, she was the golden child. If she made a mistake, it was never her fault. If I breathed differently than she did, the problem was with me. But even knowing that, I let her stay with me from time to time when I was away on business. She always had some excuse: her flat needed repairs, she wanted to rest, whatever. I never trusted her completely, but I never expected to. The night it all started, I had just got back from a business trip when my friend Mike sent me a message. Hey, are you letting your house? I frowned. No, why? Then he sent me a link. My stomach sank. It was an Airbnb ad. My house. Photos, description, everything. Emma had even set the price. I stared at the screen, hoping there was some kind of mistake. But deep down I knew it wasn't. Emma was always looking for an easy way to make money. And she had the perfect opportunity. One was out of the house. I trusted her with the keys and she thought I would never find out. She was wrong. I booked the first flight home. I didn't even bother checking into a hotel. When I got to my house, there were people outside with suitcases. I went up to them and asked what they were doing. They replied that they had rented a house for a week and were waiting for the owner. My blood began to boil. The door opened and there she was. Emma looked at me in surprise. Oh, Dan, you came back so soon. Why didn't you tell me? I stopped playing games. What's going on? She blinked as if she didn't know what I was talking about. Oh, them? I was just showing them around the house. You know, giving them a little tour. I looked at the guests. Did you pay for the house? They nodded. Yes, through Airbnb. Is there a problem? I turned to Emma. She didn't even meet my eyes. Then I realized it wasn't the first time. Emma was still trying to act innocent, but I wasn't buying it. I walked past her into my house and immediately saw the signs. Suitcases by the couch, shoes by the door that didn't belong to me, and worst of all, the spare bedroom looked like it had been occupied. I turned to her. How many times have you done this? She laughed nervously. Dan, seriously, you're exaggerating. It's not like I'm renting it out. I pulled out my phone and showed her the Airbnb ad. So it's fake? The people on the street, did they just magically appear here? She bit her lip, trying to lie. Okay, fine. I put it up for sale, but I wasn't actually trying to rent it out. I just wanted to see if anyone was interested. I stared at her. You took their money? She crossed her arms. I was going to give it back. I turned back to the guests. Did she offer to give it back? They shook their heads. One guy, looking annoyed, said, No, and if this is some kind of scam, I want my money back now. Emma's face turned red. Okay, fine, I'll send it back. God, Dan, why are you acting like this is such a big deal? I wanted to laugh at her audacity. Because it's fraud, Emma. You took money for a flat that wasn't yours. You let strangers live in my house. And who knows how long you've been doing it. She waved her hand. Oh, come on. You don't even live here all the time. You're always on the road. What's wrong with earning a bit of extra money? I felt my fists clench. Because this is my home. And then she mentioned that she had made the decision for me. You're so selfish, Dan. You already have everything. The great job, the huge house. And what do I have? You could have just let me make some money on the side and nobody would have got hurt. I took a deep breath. Pack your things and get out. She scoffed. You're seriously kicking me out for this? You think I'd kick you out for no reason? I laughed and shook my head. Emma, I'm going to sue you. Her jaw dropped. No, you're not. I pulled out my phone. I already called my lawyer on the way over here. You committed fraud and I have proof. This isn't just a sibling squabble, you broke the law. Her expression changed from shock to fear. Dan, stop it. You don't have to do this. We're a family. Yeah. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you stole from me. I turned to the guests. You'll get a refund and I'll let Airbnb know. Sorry for the inconvenience. When I walked out, Emma was still standing there, stunned. She probably thought she would get away with it as she always did. But not this time. Emma must have realized how serious I was, because after I left she started calling me non-stop. First she tried to apologize, saying it was a misunderstanding. Then she got angry and said I was overreacting and ruining her life. When neither of those things worked, she tried to make me feel guilty by reminding me that she was my younger sister and that the family should stick together. I did not return her calls. Instead, the next morning I met with my lawyer. He didn't sugarcoat it. Emma had committed fraud, plain and simple. She had taken money from people for property that wasn't hers. She did it several times. And what's the worst part? Some of the previous guests left reviews. She had a whole system. While my lawyer started the legal process, I contacted Airbnb and reported the ad. They took it down almost immediately, but the damage was done. Emma had already managed to scam a few people, and some of them started filing complaints. And then the real storm began. My parents called. As soon as I answered, my father's voice was already raised. What the hell is wrong with you? I frowned. What are you talking about? Emma just told us that you're suing her. Over some stupid mix-up? She's your sister, Dan. I almost laughed. Mix-up? She was renting my house illegally. My mom interjected. Dan, don't do that. She's family. You know how hard it's been on her. Can't you just let it go? No, I said in a firm voice. She stole from me. She put my house at risk. What if one of the tenants had vandalized the house? What if they had been injured? Do you think they would have sued her? No, they would sue me because it's my house. Dad was not listening. I can't believe this. You're taking them to court? Are you really that selfish? I clenched my jaw. You think she was selfish enough to steal from me? You're tearing this family apart. Mom cried. I shook my head. No, Emma did it. I'm just holding her accountable. Then came the words that made my stomach turn. Dan, my father said coldly, if you do this, you are no longer our son. For a moment I just stood there clutching the phone. I should have been shocked. I should have been hurt. But honestly, part of me had expected it. Emma was a golden child. She could do no wrong in her eyes. Meanwhile, I was just a spare child, the one expected to forgive, to give, to endure. I exhaled slowly. If you feel that way, fine. I hung up before they could say anything else. I should have been devastated. But instead I just felt angry. Because they didn't know what I knew. They didn't know the dirt I had on Emma. And when they did, everything would change. For the next few days, my phone didn't stop ringing. My parents called, Emma called, even some relatives called. Apparently Emma had been telling some sob story about how her cruel, heartless brother was trying to ruin her life over a tiny mistake. I ignored every call, every message. I wasn't going to waste time arguing with people who had already chosen their side. But I wasn't done yet. You see, Emma was always good at playing the victim, but she wasn't good at covering her tracks. And I had something she couldn't deny. A video. A few months ago I installed security cameras in my house, mainly for peace of mind when I traveled. Emma never knew about them because I never had a reason to mention them, until now. When I went through the footage I found exactly what I needed. Emma was sitting in my living room with some of her friends, laughing and drinking, completely unaware that she was being recorded. And then, as clear as day, she said it. My parents are so stupid. I swear they will leave me the house when they die. They don't even know I've been cheating people for months. Dan is too busy working to find out. It's ridiculous, really. I watched the video twice to make sure I had heard her right. My hands were shaking not with sadness but with pure rage. She hadn't just betrayed me. She had planned for our parents to die so she could take their house. And she thought it was funny. I didn't even hesitate. I sent the video straight to my parents with a simple message. This is the daughter you chose instead of me. Within 5 minutes my phone was ringing off the hook. I let them call. I let them deal with what they had just seen. Then finally I picked up the phone. This time my father's voice was softer, almost hesitant. Dan, what is it? I couldn't even hide the bitterness in my voice. Exactly what it sounds like. Emma's been renting my house for months. She's been lying to you. And she waited for you to die so she could take yours. There was silence. Then my mom spoke, her voice shaking. This has got to be a joke. She wouldn't. Watch the video again, I said. Listen to the way she says it. She meant every word. Silence again. Then my father muttered something under his breath that I didn't quite catch. When he spoke again, his voice was strained. Did she really say that about us? Yes, I replied. She did. I didn't say anything else. I just let her sit with it. For the first time in my life, my parents had no immediate defense for Emma. The silence on the phone dragged on, thick and heavy. For the first time in my life, my parents had nothing to say. No excuses, no justifications. They had spent my whole life protecting Emma, and now they had undeniable proof of who she really was. Then my father finally spoke. His voice was low, almost broken. "Dan, you did the right thing." I almost dropped the phone. All my life I had been told that I was too harsh, too relentless, too unwilling to help my sister. And now they saw what I had known all along. My mother cried. "I can't believe I raised such a heartless daughter." I didn't feel sorry for them. They gave her the chance for years, let her get away with it. But I also knew that this was the moment when Emma's golden status finally cracked. I didn't have to wait long to see the consequences. The next day my parents turned up unannounced. They looked exhausted, as if they had barely slept. My father sat down with a heavy sigh. "We met with her. And at first she tried to lie," he admitted. "She said it was just a stupid joke, that she didn't mean anything by it. But when we didn't back down, she got angry. She said we were overreacting, just like you." Mum wiped her eyes. "Then she blamed you. She said you set her up somehow." I laughed out loud. "Of course I did. But it's over between us, Dan," Dad said firmly. "We're not protecting her anymore." I looked at her for a long time. "You told me I wasn't your son anymore, that you only had one child." My father's jaw clenched. "We were wrong." My mother reached for my hand, her eyes pleading. "Can you forgive us?" I sat back and exhaled slowly. I wasn't sure I was ready to forgive them. But for the first time in my life they had chosen me, so that had to mean something. Emma wasn't going down without a fight. She tried to play the victim to anyone who would listen. The problem was that I wasn't the only one making accusations. Several people she had scammed filed complaints. Airbnb flagged her account, and the money she had made, thousands of dollars, had to be returned. At first she tried to ignore the legal notices, but the courts were not swayed by her sob stories. She was charged with fraud. When the trial finally came, she looked smaller than I had ever seen her. She was no longer the smug, confident manipulator. She was just a scared woman who had finally run out of people to lie to. She tried to get my parents to help her, to beg me to drop the charges. They refused. My dad told her she would have to face the consequences of her actions. My mum wouldn't even look at her. Emma was sentenced to prison. Not for years, but enough to mark her life. Enough to make sure she could not just cheat her way back to an easy life. After all that happened, my parents tried to build a relationship with me. I slowly let them back in, but things were never the same. I had spent too many years coming second to Emma. It wasn't something I could forget overnight. But I found peace. My house, my home, was finally mine again. No more strangers, no more deceit, no more betrayal lurking in the corners. One day my father sighed and said, "We have lost a daughter." I shook my head. "No. You just finally saw her for who she really was." For the first time they didn't argue. And that was enough for me.